I want to start by telling you about two shops on the same street. They sell almost the same things, same prices, same hours. One of them is always busy. People wait. They smile while they wait. The other one is quiet, and slowly, year by year, it's dying. Now, most people, when they see this, reach for the easy answers. Better location, better luck, more money for advertising. But none of that is true here. Both shops sit side by side. Both started with the same amount of money. And the quiet one actually spends more on advertising than the busy one. So what's the difference? I'm going to answer that question by the end of this talk. But I'll tell you now, the answer is going to surprise you. Because the difference between those two shops is the exact same difference between a business that struggles and one that's loved. It's the same thing that decides whether your idea spreads or disappears. And here's the part that should make you sit up. It's something you've already been doing your entire life, without ever being taught it and without even knowing what it was called. That thing has a name. The name is marketing. And almost everything you think you know about it is wrong. My name is Sadia Kibriya. I'm from Kotler Impact, the global organization that carries forward the work of Professor Philip Kotler, the man the world calls the father of modern marketing. And over the next half hour, in collaboration with the Azeemi Global Foundation, I'm going to take this one enormous, misunderstood word and hand it back to you. Clear, simple, and yours. Welcome to the very first talk of Marketing Management Foundations. Let's begin. Let me ask you something. When I say the word marketing, what's the first picture that appears in your mind? For most people, it's one of three things. The first picture is advertisements. Billboards, loud commercials interrupting your video, pop-ups you can't close fast enough. The second picture is a salesperson. Someone a little too friendly, a little too eager, trying to talk you into something you didn't come for and don't really want. And the third picture is a department. A room somewhere in a big company, full of clever people with a budget, a logo, and a strategy you'll never see. And here's what happens next. Quietly, inside almost everyone. They look at those three pictures and they think, that's not me. I'm not loud. I'm not pushy. I don't run a big company. So marketing, that's not for me. If even a small part of you has ever felt that, I want you to relax. Because I have good news. That picture in your head isn't just incomplete. It's tiny. It is the smallest corner of an enormous room. And you've been standing in that corner, in the dark, thinking it was the whole house. So tonight, we turn the lights on. And the first thing I have to do is take three things you believe about marketing and gently take them apart. Myth number 1, marketing is advertising. Advertising is just one tool that marketing can sometimes use. And honestly, it's one of the last steps, not the first. Think about it this way. If you make something nobody actually wants, no amount of advertising will save it. A beautiful, expensive advertisement for the wrong thing is just expensive noise. In fact, the louder you advertise a thing people don't want, the faster everyone finds out they don't want it. Advertising doesn't create value. It only announces value that already exists. So if advertising is the megaphone, marketing is the message, the messenger, and the reason anyone's listening at all. Myth number 2, marketing is selling. This one is so common that even experienced business people get it wrong. So listen closely, because this is one of the most important distinctions in this entire course. Selling and marketing point in opposite directions. Selling starts with what you already have. You've made the product, it's sitting in the warehouse. And now your job is to convince someone, anyone, to take it off your hands. Selling pushes outward, from the product toward the person. Marketing runs the other way. It starts with the person. It begins by asking, what does this human being actually need? What's missing in their life? What are they quietly struggling with? And only then do you go and build the thing that answers it. Marketing pulls inward, from the person toward the product. There's a famous idea, often credited to the great thinker Peter Drucker, that the real aim of marketing is to make selling almost unnecessary. And that sounds like a riddle until you live it. Because when you understand someone deeply enough and you build exactly the thing they needed, you don't have to push it on them. You don't have to convince anyone. The right thing, offered to the right person, sells itself. The selling melts away because the understanding did all the work first. Myth number 3, and this is the big one. Marketing is a department. Marketing is not a room. It's not a job title. It's not something that happens at 9 in the morning when certain people sit at certain desks. Let me show you what I mean. The parent who arranges a child's plate so the vegetables look fun and tells a little story so the child wants to eat them. That parent is doing marketing. The fruit seller who stacks the reddest, ripest mangoes right at the front at eye level where the light catches them, he is doing marketing. The friend who gets the whole group to finally try that new restaurant, painting such a vivid picture that everyone's mouth is watering before they've even left the house. That friend is doing marketing. None of them have a department. None of them have a budget. None of them would ever call it marketing. They're just reading other human beings, what they need, what they fear, what would delight them, and responding with care. And that is the truth this whole talk is built on. Marketing is not a department. It's a way of being human, done with intention. So let's say it plainly now. After clearing away the smoke, what is marketing really? At its heart, it is this: understanding what people truly need and finding a way to meet that need that's genuinely good for them and good for you. Hear that again slowly, because every word carries weight. Understanding, it begins with listening, not talking. People, not numbers, not the market, but real human beings. Need, not what you wish they wanted, but what they actually lack. And good for them, and good for you, both sides. Marketing done right is not one person winning and another losing. It's an exchange where both walk away better than before. Professor Kotler describes marketing as the art and science of creating value for others and building lasting relationships in the process. Sit with the center of that. Not the product is at the center, not the money. The center is value, people, and relationship. So here is the simplest way I can give it to you. An image you can carry for the rest of your life. Marketing is the bridge between a human need and the thing that fills it. A person stands on one side with a need they may not even be able to name. The answer to that need stands on the other side, and marketing is the bridge that carries one to the other. That's all it is. Everything else, the ads, the slogans, the strategies, the campaigns, those are just different ways of building, decorating, and pointing to the bridge. But the bridge itself is always the same, a need and the meeting of it. Now you might be wondering, if marketing is this old and this human, why does it feel so modern? Why does it feel like something invented by big corporations? Let me give you a tiny piece of history because it explains everything. For most of human history, business worked in one direction. You made a thing: bread, cloth, a clay pot. And because there wasn't much of anything, people came and bought it. The maker was king. This is what we now call a product mindset or a selling mindset. I make it, you buy it. My job is to produce and then to persuade. But the world changed. Slowly, then quickly, there was more of everything. More makers, more shops, more choices than any one person could ever use. And the moment a customer has choice, the power quietly shifts from the person who makes to the person who chooses. And that's the great flip. That's the revolution that Professor Kotler helped the world put into words. The smartest businesses stopped asking, how do we sell more of what we make? And started asking the opposite question. What do people actually need? And how do we build that? That's the difference between a selling mindset and a marketing mindset. The selling mindset starts in the factory. The marketing mindset starts in the human heart. And here's why this matters, even if you'll never run a factory, even if you only ever sell your own time, your own skills, your own little idea. The same flip applies to you. The question is never, how do I convince people to want what I have? The real question, the one that changes everything, is, what do the people around me genuinely need, and how can I be the one who meets it? Answer that question well, and you will never have to chase anyone again. But now we have to go one level deeper, because this is where beginners get stuck. They hear meet people's needs, and they think it's obvious. It isn't, because people are almost never asking for the thing they actually want. There's a famous teaching in marketing, and once you hear it, you'll never unhear it. It goes like this. Nobody who buys a drill actually wants a drill. What they want is a hole in the wall. And they don't even really want the hole. They want the shelf that goes up. And they don't truly want the shelf either. What they want is the warm feeling of a finished home, a place to put the photographs of people they love. Do you see how far that travels? From a cold metal tool all the way to belonging. That is the secret hiding inside the word need. On the surface, people need products. Underneath, people need feelings. To feel safe, to feel respected, to feel they belong, to feel they matter, to be remembered. Now, go back to the very beginning of this talk. The shopkeeper who knows your name, who reaches for your usual order before you've said a word, who asks about your mother. On the surface, you walked in for a few groceries. But underneath, that shopkeeper handed you something no advertisement can ever buy. The feeling of being seen, of being known. In a world that mostly looks straight through us, someone saw you. That is why one shop is loved and the other is dying. We're almost back to where we started, but not quite yet. There's one more thing you need to see first. Because here's the claim I made at the start, and now I'm going to prove it. I said you've been a marketer your whole life. Let me show you. Think back to the last time you had a job interview. You chose your clothes carefully. You thought about what to lead with, what to hold back, how to tell the story of your life so it landed well. You were doing marketing, and the product was you. Think about the last time you convinced a child to do something they didn't want to do. You didn't issue an order. You made it a game. You told a story. You found the one thing they cared about, and you connected your request to it. That is marketing of the highest order, because anyone who can market to a 4-year-old can market to anyone alive. Think about the last time you recommended a film to a friend so well that they watched it that very night. You didn't list its features. You said, "Trust me, it's you. You're going to love it." You understood your friend and you matched the thing to the person. Marketing. Think of a teacher who made a difficult lesson suddenly click by connecting it to something you already loved. A place of worship, a mosque, a church, a temple that welcomes a nervous newcomer at the door, learns their name, makes them feel they belong before they've even sat down. A neighbor who brings food to a grieving family without being asked. A friend who knows exactly how to phrase the hard truth so you can actually hear it. Every single one of those is marketing, in its truest, oldest, most human form, understanding a person and meeting them where they are. So when someone tells you, "Oh, I could never do marketing," now you know the truth. You already have, 1,000 times. You've simply never had a name for it. And here's the beautiful part. Once you do have the name, once you can see the thing clearly, you can start doing it on purpose. You can take a quiet, accidental gift and make it a deliberate skill. That is the entire promise of this course. So let me give you the one idea I most want you to carry out of this room. If you forget everything else, keep this. Marketing is not a task. It is a way of seeing the world. And once you truly have this lens, I have to warn you, you can't switch it off. It changes how you walk through the world. You'll sit in a cafe and suddenly notice why the menu is arranged the way it is, why your eye lands where it lands. You'll stand in one queue that makes you furious and another that somehow feels fine. And you'll understand the difference. You'll realize why you've stayed loyal to one little shop for 10 years and why you quietly stopped going to another without ever deciding to. You'll start to see the invisible threads, the threads of value and trust and attention and care, that connect every single person to every single choice they make. They were always there. You just couldn't see them. And now you will. Everywhere. For the rest of your life. That's not a burden. That's a superpower. Because the moment you can see how value and trust are built, you can start building them yourself. On purpose. For the people you serve, the work you do, the cause you believe in. That is the lens. Welcome to seeing the world the way it has always actually worked. Now I have to stop and address something honestly. Because if you're a thoughtful person, a quiet objection has probably been growing in you this whole time. It sounds like this. But Sadia, isn't this just manipulation? Isn't marketing the art of getting people to do what you want? I love this question. I love it because the people who ask it are usually the ones who will do marketing most beautifully. So here is the truth, and it's a line I want you to hold on to. Manipulation is not good marketing. Manipulation is failed marketing, wearing a disguise. Here's the difference, and it's simple. Manipulation serves you at the expense of the other person. You trick them into something that's good for you and bad for them. Marketing, real marketing, serves the other person in a way that also happens to be good for you. One is a trap. The other is a gift. And there's a practical reason this isn't just about ethics. Manipulation has a fatal flaw built right into it. It cannot last. You can trick a person once, but they find out. And the moment they find out, you've lost the only thing that ever truly mattered, their trust. And as we'll see in a later talk, when trust dies, word of mouth turns from your greatest ally into your greatest enemy. Manipulation is a fire that warms you for one night and burns the whole house down by morning. This is exactly why our mission, in collaboration with the Azeemi Global Foundation, is what it is. We take knowledge that usually sits locked behind expensive doors and difficult jargon, and we give it away freely, simply, to everyone. Because we believe the deepest purpose of marketing was never to take. It was always, at its best, to serve. So before we close, let me hand you the few things you'll need to gently unlearn. The quiet mistakes almost every beginner makes. The first mistake is starting with your product instead of starting with the person. Fall in love with the people you serve, not the thing you've made. The thing can always change. The need is what's sacred. The second mistake is believing that louder means better. It doesn't. A whisper to the right person beats a shout to 1,000 wrong ones. Relevance always beats volume. The third mistake is confusing attention with trust. It is very easy to get attention. You can shock people, you can trick them, you can shout, but attention is rented. Trust is owned. Build the thing you own. And the fourth, believing this is only for businesses. It is not. It's for the teacher, the parent, the volunteer, the artist, the person with a quiet idea and a brave heart. It's for anyone who has ever needed another human being to understand. So let's bring it all home. We learned that marketing is not advertising, not selling, and not a department. We learned that it's the bridge between a human need and the thing that fills it. We learned that beneath every surface need lives a deeper human feeling. To be safe, to belong, to be seen. We learned that you have been doing this your entire life in 100 quiet ways. And we learned the one idea that holds it all together. Marketing is not a task, it's a way of seeing the world. Which brings us back at last to those two shops. The busy one and the dying one. Same street, same prices, same goods. Now you already know the answer because you felt it yourself. The busy shop isn't selling groceries, it's selling the feeling of being known. The owner remembers your name, asks about your family, reaches for your usual before you ask. He built a bridge, not just to your wallet, but to your heart. The other shop only ever sold things. And things on their own are the easiest thing in the world to find somewhere cheaper. That's the whole secret. That's marketing. That's the lens. So here's your one small practice before we meet again. This week, just notice. Catch one moment where someone made you feel genuinely valued, as a customer or simply as a person, and ask yourself how they did it. And catch one moment where someone got it wrong. Don't judge either one. Just see it. Because that noticing, that quiet, deliberate seeing, is the first true skill of a marketer. And it costs you nothing. And in our very next talk, we go deeper than we've gone today. We step inside the human mind itself to answer the question that every business, every cause, and every relationship eventually runs into. Why do people buy? What really makes a person say yes? I promise you, the answer is almost never what you'd expect. If this gave you a new way of looking at the world, even for a moment, take the short quiz just below to lock it in. Subscribe so the next lesson finds you. And I will see you in Talk 2. Thank you for spending this time with me. Let's discover together this quiet art that has been all around you all along.